My name is Shiro Armstrong. I'm from the Australian National University and I run the Australia-Japan Research Centre and East Asia Forum at the ANU. I have a lot to do with Japan. I work on the Asian economies, Japanese economy, Australia-Japan relationship and Asian economic integration more broadly. So about 40% of Australia's exports have been going to China. That's by far Australia's largest trading partner. During the middle of 2020, a lot of Australia's exports were blocked going into China. Now, coal, barley, timber, a lot of those goods found alternative markets internationally thanks to an open international trading system. Exporters were able to find alternatives. Of course, it was very costly and many wine exporters, beef exporters were not as lucky as other exporters because markets were not as open in those commodities. But the importance is in the face of these trade sanctions, Australian exporters were able to find alternative markets and buffer the shock of these restrictions. Yes, Australia's got a large trading relationship with China. In fact, it grew during that episode with price of iron ore increasing and trade with China increasing over that time. So this raises the question, of course, of Australian management of its economic relationship with China. In a world where there's more uncertainty, economic and political uncertainty, and the United States as Australia's security ally, dealing with domestic problems in the United States, withdrawing from its leadership position of these multilateral institutions like the WTO. So Australia's got a very close relationship with Japan. In fact, the two countries have never been closer. Australia's exports to Japan, primarily in natural resources, iron ore, but coal and LNG, and that's where Australia is important for Japan. The biggest external source of energy for Japan, and Japan procures most of its energy needs, almost all of its energy needs internationally. So that's where Australia is important. Strategically, of course, Australia and Japan have never been closer. They share the challenges of managing a rising China and a United States that's withdrawing from its leadership role internationally. And so that's where strategic interests have converged significantly between Australia and Japan. Now that economic relationship will change over time. Of course, Japanese investment is coming into Australia for developing hydrogen supply chains and other renewable energy. And that big export of natural resources from Australia to Japan will change as both countries transition to net zero emissions by 2050.